Chances are you've probably first heard of Max Headroom from Eminem's Rap God, or the TV hijacking incident in 1987. It's an iconic visual that's instantly recognisable, even to those who've never seen it. And that's it, for the longest time, I haven't really seen anything to do with him. I knew the image, I just didn't know who he was. I asked a handful of media-centric people that I know, and they haven't seen anything to do with him either, but they all recognised him. So his appearances may have fallen out of public relevance. However, I would say his first appearance is more relevant now than it ever has been. It is time to look at Max Headroom 20 minutes into the future. First airing on Channel 4 in 1985, this film was originally going to be a series of shorter mini-movies to explain the backstory of the character of Max, but then was extended to a full TV movie. We open with a scene that's shown completely from the perspective of news cameras and CCTV. Edison Carter, a reporter for Network 23, is on the tail of a new story. There's been an explosion in someone's flat, but Carter thinks something smells about this, and it's not gas or the neighbours cooking either. His handler gets orders from above, telling him that the story's been pulled, but he goes in anyway. But soon after, he gets beat up for his trouble. The choice to go with a more pseudo-mockumentary style for this scene really helps to set the grittier mood that this movie is going for. It may also be done for budget purposes, but it also sets up Carter's character as a reckless, aloof reporter who doesn't care about the rules, but he cares about the truth. He gets a new handler, Theora, who doesn't mind bending the rules so much. Meanwhile, in a boardroom with some of the most dramatic and villainous lighting I've seen in a while, a meeting is called at Network 23 headquarters to discuss an inconvenient little problem. They have a new tactic to stop people from channel switching. Instead of having 30-second adverts, they condense them into 3 seconds. A short, sharp, condensed message to buy, buy, buy. The little hitch their main R&D man Bryce informs them is that these blipverts, as they call them, can sometimes make the more inactive members of society literally explode. Which for the network is terrible news. Not that their new way of making more money is killing people. No, they don't care about that. But that they'd be killing off loyal viewers and scare off advertisers.
People do sort of blow up. Spontaneously combust, you know.
No, I don't.
Can people literally explode? Blah, 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 blah. Extremely implausible. 3-second adverts nowadays is virtually nothing. I mean, here on YouTube we have like 5-second unskippable adverts. 3 seconds is nothing next to that. I mean, let's just say I place a mid-roll here and a significant portion of you lot watching at home explode. Still here? Good. Companies prioritising profits over human life is nothing new, and it's probably like the most realistic aspect of a lot of science fiction. And prioritising the placement of adverts above human safety sort of rings a little bit different 40 years later. If I had £1 for every time I saw an explicit advert for penis enlargement pills on Facebook, I'd have £3, which, right, isn't a lot, but it's happened 3 times. And I laugh about it now, but let's say someone comes across it who's probably a bit more gullible than I am, or a bit more insecure about the penis size than I am. They may fall for it and buy it. Best case scenario, they don't work. Worst case scenario, they have adverse health effects. Either way, that person has been scammed out of their money, and their penis is no larger for it. And the worrying part of this is, they are effective enough to be monetarily sustainable. And I use penis pills as an example, but what about something a bit more malicious? Getting you to install malware, getting your personal details, or getting you to send them money. If scammers are making money through these ads, then the hosts of said ads are also going to be benefiting as well. Carter is hot on the case and follows a few leads. He learns about Bryce and about the tape, and how this can be the smoking gun that blows the whole thing wide open. Breaking into his house, he sees the tape of a guy exploding after watching a series of blipverts. Funnily enough, this is how I feel while watching Sky News. The scenes here are lit and dressed appropriately dingy and grotty. It really sells the dystopian, gritty atmosphere of the near future. Either that or the film is set in East London. Carter pinches the tape, but is followed by 2 goons hired by Bryce who specialise in the organ trade. Yeah, you're watching this and you probably think, yeah, okay, but corporate greed, deadly adverts and the organ trade, that's all fun and games. But where is the funny headman? Where is Max Headroom? Don't worry, Max is coming. Trying to escape from them, Carter steals a bike, but ends up smacking his head on a clearance barrier. The barrier reads, Max Headroom, which was the last thing that he saw. Apparently after this aired and the character of Max got popular, many started using signs that read maximum headroom or maximum clearance instead. He's knocked unconscious and the network have stopped him from leaking the tape, but they have another issue. If they make one of their more well-known reporters disappear off the air, wouldn't that make it look suspicious? Bryce hatches a plan to make a CG replica of his head and an AI to replace him. After a series of glitches regarding his memory, he gives himself the name of the last thing that he saw, Max Headroom.
Max Headroom.
So even back in the 80s, there was the anxiety of having an AI take over your job, and that possibility has only become more and more prevalent as we've gone on. Given a decent sample, AI can make a decent imitation of someone's voice and use it to make them say anything. The ethics are very, very questionable, but thankfully a lot of them aren't as effective as many would have you to believe. AI slop for the most part is quite thankfully easy to spot, and it's something I personally try to avoid. Like, if someone hasn't put the time to make a piece of content, why should I put the time in to watch said content? But AI slop, unfortunately AI scams, are falling the old and the young, those who are a bit more vulnerable, those who are a bit less internet or tech savvy. The CEO man comes to see what Bryce has done and is a little disturbed by it. The same guy who was okay with people being killed by his adverts is not okay with this. That's what crosses the line, and that does seem like an arbitrary judgment. But thinking about it, the millions of people that would ultimately be killed by his ads are an externality. With enough cognitive dissonance, you can justify that it's actually their fault for being so lazy anyway. Why would they be so inconsiderate to get themselves into a situation where they will be killed by them when they're too busy making so much money? And it's easy to ignore the death and suffering of people if you don't see them. But this, he sees it, and he will be affected by it. Therefore he is forced to care. Well, care is a strong word, but he at least objects to it. After Carter escapes the body bank, with his camera surgically attached to him like an emotional support teddy bear, he gets back on the case, eventually cornering the CEO man. He's going to blow the story wide open, an important story about greed and public safety, and how do people react?
What a load of bollocks.
The thing is, this is funny because it's true. Not about what he said about the story, but more the reaction to the story. In real life, a story can break that's as important as this story is about blipverts. But, let's face it, so many of us are burnt out about it. I know I would be. Like, say a story breaks about a particular member of parliament having some dodgy or shady dealings, or have done and said something questionable. And I think, well, yeah, we knew they were shady, we knew they were questionable. What's new about this? I don't know, it just takes a lot for me personally to be engaged with a news story, and I'd imagine it'll be the same for many of you. And in this alternate future, it's hard to see how they can be less burned out. Loads of channels broadcasting with tens of millions of viewers. We have doctors' programs giving rectal exams over the TV. We have porn channels, which the only thing that's surprising isn't that they would broadcast porn over the TV, but it's gaining less viewers than BBC 126. The attention economy is such that many people are campaigning for your eyeballs, and in this pre-internet depiction, a lot of what we see here is eerily accurate. Ignore the CRT TVs. The predictions of AI talking heads and short-form adverts should have been something we saw coming. But remember, if they're campaigning that hard for your eyeballs, that hard for your attention, then maybe your attention is worth more than you realise. Use it for the things that matter. How about you? Have you seen Max Headroom 20 minutes into the future? Have you seen anything else to do with Max Headroom? Do you think I'm barking up the wrong tree? Please let me know down below. And thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. I'm going to see you later.